But if you look at the way the cartels do it in Mexico, they're interwoven with the federales.
Oh yeah,
and I mean, you would
so the
think,
mobsters here. That's
yeah, they are, but the rule, the quote unquote.
Well, the rule is this:
yeah.
you got to go through your boss. Like when I was talking to Phil Gotti, the father knew about it. When I was getting information to help Jeannie Gotti and Johnny Kinnick with their case, I brought Phil. So, to meet Jeannie and different guys in Villa Russo on 101st Avenue when we met in the Sollyport. So it's okay as long as they know of the guy.
Sure, look at Whitey Bulger.
They want to watch the guy.
Whitey Bulger had a badge. Look at Greg Scarpa. He had a badge. He did work for the feds.
Listen, most of that, we talked about
the other day. When
the mob was... I'm talking about Vito Genovese days, Lucky Luciano. These guys used to drop dimes on the other crews.
Yeah.
All the time.
Yeah.
Here's where the prohibition days.
When we talk about loyalty with the mob shit, the loyalty stuff that you guys talk about, there's no loyalty because I'll tell you what, the minute someone here's one of the things that I fall down with the mob stuff that they talk about. So you got a mob guy and mob family. It's okay for the mob family to tell on another mob family, right? To the police.
Yeah.
All right. Now when a guy gets jammed up and he starts talking, he says to him, well, you shouldn't have talked. Or you shouldn't have said anything. Yeah. And you go, oh, it's only good for you to say something. But you robbed my house, you shoot my mother, and I can't say, I'm not allowed to call the police? No.
Exactly.
What the fuck you?
Well, listen, I'm sitting in a penitentiary in Brazil, right?
Yeah.
The whole Bonanno family flips. The whole family. While I'm sitting there being loyal, leaving my family, my kids, and while I'm there, who runs a Bureau of Prisons, jails is a Bureau of Prisons.
Mm-hmm.
Who moves you is the marshals. There's no reason federal police come into a fucking jail unless you're debriefing or they want to talk to you about ratting. Okay? So Gotti himself says in 1998, I believe, when he goes to see his father, the feds were in a room with him. What were they doing there with you? The father didn't want him there, but they okayed his visit because at that point, in my opinion, he was cooperating. Since then, because this would involve the marshals for that visit. This would involve the Bureau of Prisons, not the FBI.
Exactly.
So if the FBI is sitting there, you got the permission as an acting boss to see the boss, your father, and your father was disgusted. He says, what's this word, closure? But at that point, I believe he was an informant. But by 2005, he's an informant. There's no excuse. You sat down, you gave up Danny Marino, who couldn't get a bail because of you, and he ended up staying in prison because you were cooperating. Johnny Gams and different guys. Now, when you're cooperating against these guys, not only did they get stuck in jail and take pleas and go to jail, so with that nonsense, I had to testify against somebody. Yeah, you did. They all took pleas. They all stayed in jail. But you opened up dozens of investigations against other guys, and other guys flipped when they went to them. Guys like whoever, Mikey Scarzo, this guy, that guy that were flipping, or guys, well, Mikey flipped before him, but other guys that flipped and started feeding information just like him because they knew he was in. So when you cannot flip that, and the problem with the mob is they're okay with certain guys ratting or certain guys sitting down. They're so weak, they don't even say, he's a fucking rat.
Well,
now, why don't they say it? Because of what reason? He's a rat. They know he's a rat. They chased him. It was all over the headlines. So when they try to switch and flip the script, when a guy like me sitting in a penitentiary and you're talking and you're ratting and you're sitting down with the feds and you got the FBI in the jail with you, there's no reason for that FBI to be in that room with you when you're sitting there to talk with your father. And the father knew that. He was disgusted.
Of course.
And he goes, do what you want, because he was very sick at the time he was dying. And the biggest thing about them is, how do they they spent so much energy, his sister, on me and not on Sammy Gravano, who really put him there and killed him in jails and made him suffer.
Put their father to die in prison.
Because it's really not about the father. They talk all that nonsense, but it's about themselves.
And they have all those trolls, too. But one other thing I wanted to mention that you talked about, look at the example in the Colombo family with Greg Scarpa. And they knew, the bosses knew that Greg Scarpa was an informant. They knew that he was with the feds. But they gave him dirty work to do because they knew he could get away with it. So it made sense to work with the government.
Yeah. So what does it really mean then?
Yeah.
I take Lucky Luciano, very famous guy.
Yeah.
Do you know that at 17 years old he talked, he gave himself up and he was ratting with drugs, and he said, "Oh, I was only a kid at the time." What kind of fucking answer is that? So I say that anytime it's okay for them. People
if it benefits,
it's okay if it benefits them.
Yeah.
But there is no real loyalty for everybody. That's why I'm always talking about, if you want to be in the street, be aware that there's no loyalty to you.
Yeah.
The only loyalty you're going to have is your own personal family members, and even sometimes that.
Oh, that's
by
not
yourself.
always. That's not guaranteed.
No.
That's not guaranteed at
So
all.
the loyalty, in life is about self-preservation.
Right.
Anybody, unless you're in the Marines or the Army, where guys are dying for each other.
In the
and
hole.
taking
You're
each
in the
other back.
foxhole with
The
each other.
foxhole.
Yeah.
My friends like Brian Basho, I always talk about, or Lance. These guys were military, tough guys. Marines, JD. These guys put their lives out there and saved people's lives. And guys were, these guys are.
Have you
serious,
spoken to your
serious
friends
heroes.
about this Ukraine thing going on? And what's going on? I mean, you're Ukrainian, right?
I'm Albanian.
Oh,
He's
so-
Albanian.
sounds the same.
It rhymes.
It sounds the same.
Listen, you want to talk
Rhymes.
I give a quick overview of this.
Go ahead. We want to hear it.